move sideways. Looks like this. Switching sides. So today is a day that I was definitely less than interested in coming to the gym. But I've cultivated sort of a habit of at least showing up no matter what. Uh, like, so in a couple of videos ago, I had mentioned that there's like so many different aspects to fitness that I'm into, and as a result of which, if I'm ever feeling exhausted or uninterested, there is at least one or two concepts or one or two aspects of that fitness that I haven't done recently that I could work on, which keeps things interesting. However, today a combination of how the weather was. It was sunny and humid for a while, then it got really rainy, and then something about that sudden change and being in a cozy apartment just makes me not want to come out. But in any case, that's where like this habit of at least showing up no matter what, even if there is no plan as to what I'm going to do, helps keep me consistent, because I am someone who wants to work out every day. By want, I mean want not necessarily that I enjoy it, but I want to be someone that can show up every day no matter what. And I've been doing this for a while, so no matter how I feel, I'll at least show up. And so I bought a coffee to add to, I guess, my energy level, so to speak. I got a large cappuccino, or grande by Starbucks terms, with an extra shot of espresso, made in cream. I'm not a big fan of coffee shop milk. For whatever reason, coffee shop milk doesn't sit well with my stomach, so I prefer cream when ordering stuff from coffee shops. In any case, starting off the workout with some backward walking. More often than not, I don't record this part, mostly because it's just me walking backwards on a treadmill, but I had some thoughts as far as me not wanting to show up but still showing up, that I wanted to, I guess, express, because sometimes impression can be given off that I'm someone that enjoys coming to the gym. I try to make it enjoyable, but I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of, I want to be someone that can do challenging things, but I'm not so fond of the challenge itself, if that makes sense. And I guess that's kind of what it comes down to, is building a habit, building a discipline, and showing up no matter what. That doesn't mean no rest days or whatever. If people believe in rest days, take rest days. I'm not saying that people don't have to do rest days, but personally, this is a goal of mine, and this is how I keep it going. There are other people who might have a name for 5 days a week. but not be able to show up on one of those days, or not feel like working out one of those days. On those days, at least show up, do some backward or do some warm up like I'm doing. The reason I do backward walking is because it's good for knee mobility, diverts a lot of blood into the knees, strengthening the connective tissue that exists in the knees, and also every step backwards, the knee is over the toe, which helps with conditioning your knee to being in that position, because with most people the position where the knee is over the toe is the most weak, but by walking backwards you're able to condition your knee to being in that position. And it's also really good for the inner quads, VMO is what it's called, which is right above the knee. So yeah, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do today. Like one of the things that I haven't worked on very, I guess, thoroughly or dedicated a proper day, I guess, to it is mobility. Like I do exercises that have a mobility component to it, but I don't necessarily have a dedicated mobility thing that I did in the past week, I don't think. So, or at least in the past week, maybe longer. So I'm definitely thinking about throwing some mobility in today. And probably some sled, because that's an easy way of adding an intense resistance-based component that also gets my heart rate high. But yeah, just thought I'd share that before we moved into the workout. So usually while I warm up, I brainstorm as to what I'm going to do. So I was thinking about doing sled and mobility, and so here we are doing. So my plan for today's workout is going to do a sled movement back and forth, or sled movements back and forth, and then superset it with an exercise that has a mobility component to it. So there are mobility gains to be gained from backward and forward sled, but what I mean by supersetting it with mobility exercise is, I guess, something that has a little bit or little to a lot of a stretch component to it. But yeah, we'll get to that when I come back. Starting off the sled with something fairly simple, doing reverse sled drag, which is good for the quads and the knees, and then forward sled drag, which is good for all the aforementioned muscles, but also has a glute component and a hamstring component to it. Also, I'm landing on my toes, which involves the toe muscles in the feet and the calves. Then for the mobility-ish movement, going to do a tactical clean with the kettlebell into a curtsy lunge. So a tactical clean is when you switch hands in front of you, starting with the right, going to the left, curtsy, curtsy, curtsy. Curtsy lunge, I'm categorizing as a mobility exercise, because when you step behind the other leg and rotate, you get a stretch in the hips and the glutes. which contributes to hip rotational mobility. By adding a clean to it with the kettlebell, adds resistance to it, increasing the mobility gains, and also keeping the circuit intense and my heart rate going. So it's at like 145 now during the set. But yeah, I'm gonna do these two back to back for 5 sets and then on to something else. This next circuit is pretty intense, if I say so myself. So I'm going to start off with rope pulls to bring the sled back. I'm going to bear crawl back and then do the mobility movement. But as with the previous thing, the mobility movement is going to be a fairly heavy taxing movement. But we'll get to that when the time comes. So, starting off with standing rope pulls. Sometimes I do this sitting down, but I'm choosing to stand today. Looks like this. Then going to bear crawl back. And for the mobility movement, going to do figure 8 to Cossack squat. So, going to get the kettlebell, do a figure 8. So if the kettlebell lands to the right side, I'm going to take a step to the left, go deep, come back up, switch sides with the figure. Let me do that again. So it was here, figure 8, and then opposite. So now since it's to the left, step to the right, switch. See, after I use my kettlebell at home, when I use one whose dimensions are a little bit different, it messes me up a little. Good mobility exercise for the quads and the groin area. And with the kettlebell figure 8 involved, it becomes very taxing full body movement. But yeah, I'm gonna do this for 3 sets. This one's pretty taxing, so a 5 will. I mean, 5. Too much is relative. I just want to do more stuff other than this, so I'm gonna stop at 3 or 4. So for the next set of movements, I'm doing lateral sled drags. So I have the belt in such a way where it's going to push against the side when I'm moving. Reduce the weight considerably on the sled, and now going to move sideways. Looks like this. Switching sides. Supersetting that with cross bench pullovers. So using a Bosu ball on a box to give the back a more natural, and then gonna do 4 together. Then 4 alternate. And then 4 alternate from the stretch position. Gonna do this for 3 sets and then on to something else. So that was enough sled for today. Ending off the workout with some hip flexors and lower abs. So going to put these 10-pound kettlebells around my toes. Lay down or lie down, and one leg comes up, back down, then knee up, then straight up, knee up. So the fact that the legs start below, so usually while doing leg raises or knee raises while lying down, you're on a flat floor, which is alright, but with this variation, since your legs or the feet are below the hips, or below the level of the hips, you get a deeper stretch of the hip flexor and lower abs. So contributing to some hip flexor and lower ab mobility, increasing range of motion. Also, I believe lengthening the lower part of the abdominal area leads to a good lower ab look. At least me personally, the way my fat used to be distributed in the lower ab area, I feel like has changed since working a lot on hip flexor, mobility, and strength, especially in the deeper ranges of motion. And I believe exercises such as this one and ATG split squats uh, has helped improve the look on my lower abs. I'm gonna do this for a bit before I head to the sauna. I don't know. I don't know if there will be an outro because it's late and I have to catch the bus after the sauna and stuff. So this might be the end of the video. If it is, see you all tomorrow.